understanding marketing, advertising, brands, agency business, and creators. In today's podcast, we had Rohit Raj, co-founder of Glitch, which is a 360-degree marketing agency sold for 300 crores to WPP, and co-founder of Chatterbox, an influencer marketing tech enabling company, and now also the co-founder of DoneDeal. This podcast will give you a macro view of the last 10 to 15 years of what has happened in our country in this field. So tune into this podcast, subscribe and share this with your friends.
So yeah, so when the creator came in, he became a distributor and a creator.
तो प्रोडक्शन भी कर रहा है, वो कंटेंट भी बना रहा है, वो राइटिंग भी खुद कर रहा है, वो डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन भी दे रहा है.
There is so much content today, yet there is not enough content. Like the example is threads. I don't know, when did you last open threads?
That's a very good point. Beyond this thinking ahead and not having a fear of failure, what do you think is the strength and weakness which has helped you build Glitch and now as a serial entrepreneur?
Man, Glitch, I'll be very honest, it's everything in hindsight is a great story.
Of course.
I don't know, when we started Glitch, it was as normal as saying there's a certain kind of work that we like doing, right? I went to Channel V specifically. So in Simbi, we had placements. And
What do you study there?
I studied film. So I studied filmmaking. And in the placement options, they were the bigger guys like Z, etc., paying more money. I was very clear. Varun and I remember two people who were very, very clear saying Channel V and MTV. That was their the goal that was written there. The reason being, we are okay to take a lesser salary, but I think that's the kind of work we enjoy. So we like to do. I want to go to work on a Monday happy. So that was a thing that we did. Right? So it literally, like, I mean, there was a lot of learning in that front when we went into Channel V to this thing about it. When we started Glitch, the Glitch story came from this Channel V thing where we like doing a certain kind of thing. That's why it was Channel V.
Correct.
Channel V has decided and got up and said that, hey, the audience we're talking to has moved somewhere else. So we are going to move our content strategy to something else, which became reality shows, this, which was not exciting to me. So I was like, hey, if that audience has moved here, who's making the content there? And that's how Varun and I got talking and said, let's just start something to make content which we like making. So digital, they said that the audience that was the old school Channel V audience has moved to YouTube. So we said, let's start something, and who's making content for YouTube? Let's make it. And
This is what, 2000?
2009. 2009, when we started we said we'll be a production house, but our production house will be a very digital only production house. Because when you said production house that time, there was Nirvana and Tortoise and all these big ad film houses. Nobody wanted to do the digital film because I don't know why digital was always the cheaper, the offshoot thing. We said we'll do that. Koi nahi hai, jiska koi nahi hota, uske hum hote hai type situation. And we got into that, and that's how Glitch came. Now today, if you ask me in hindsight, it's not a foresight, it's just that we did everything that either we wanted to do or we made content which we wanted to consume, and thereby Glitch happened. So if you ask me about Chatterbox, it's that the question was very simple. We were doing a bunch of influencer campaigns. All the agencies at that point would come back to us with Excel sheets. And I remember this, we did a campaign for Pepsi and we were doing a campaign for Harpic. The influencer list was so similar. I'm like, Harpic or Pepsi ka same kaise ho sakta? Because that time influencers were qualified as number of followers.
Correct.
So we said, is there a better way to do it? And that's where Chatterbox. So it is either you're trying to solve for a problem you have, or you're trying to what do you call it?
Do what you like.
Something that you like.
It's an overlap of what you like, but also ठीक है, like वाला तो मैं समझ गया, but you are also very good. Maybe you did not realize then, but you are good at finding a market where there's a gap. वो भी तो है ना.
I mean, again, I don't know if I'm actively looking for a market where there's a gap. There is a gap, and that problem. So I think the answer to that would be that I'd like to solve problems. Like if of the books that I buy, for every 4 books I buy, one will be a puzzle book, right? Because I just like solving problems on it. So I think it's everybody faces this problem. One person trying to see, hey, is there a better solution to this? Or is there a easier solution to this, etc. Might just be the thing of it. I don't know. I haven't given it a thought to say that, hey, this is my focus.
Got it.
But if I look at everything that we've done, it's either because, hey, I want to continue making the content I want to make. It's not available. Let's go to this, right?
Got it.
And then once you get into a space, you will keep finding other things correlated to it, which you will expand on. That's what Glitch was. We started as a production house, pivoted to become an agency, and then 360 agency or whatever you can call it at that point.
And I read somewhere that you are somebody who wants to meet people or want to be around people who are good at what you are not good at. Right. So what was Varun good at that you were not?
So the thing when we started, and it's funny that so my designation was right brain and Varun was left brain. Okay, and the reason was I was leading the creative operations and Varun was doing the production side of it,
Operations and
operations and stuff. And the funny part is that today how we've switched roles. Like Varun's now the content and creative guy, right, and what he's doing. And but that time I think it was what
Very true.
what I liked doing was I liked conceptualizing, making, doing this. Varun at that time was also very happy to do this, but he also, so the difference was that in Channel V, we both worked in two different departments. I worked in promos and he worked in shows.
Yeah.
Promos is all about telling a story in 30 seconds in a more creative way. So you've seen all the Simpu Sings and this and that of the world, right? So that's the content that we made as well. Varun was in shows, which was about more reality-led stuff, which was his dream come true, where it was all about stitching together 4 or 5 operations and putting that in. So that's the strength. So literally left brain, right brain came from that point. So where we said that, hey, I will handle the creative side of it, creative marketing side. You handle the operations. So Varun just loved it at that point in time to do operations, and which is something I was not very keen on, and it was a great synergy. Today and then over time, I think he turned around and said, okay, wait, now I want to be creative as well, which is he is as creative as he is.
This is extremely surprising
Yeah.
to me because I've just seen the last 2-3 years of the journey, and like I never thought of you as a creative person before like meeting you, knowing you, and you know like properly, like last time we met. That's when I realized कि यार ये तो कुछ अलग है. And then Varun, ever since I know Varun is from advertising, is that I spoke to him the first time I think 3 years ago. We recorded a podcast. Creative guy यार, creative guy. Glitch कैसे क्या है ये business side का क्या है? So this is a new insight. So does that mean that even if I'm a business person right now and there's a creative person heading within me, 5 years later I can do both? Because a lot of people think ये करो तो हम ये नहीं कर सकते.
I think this is a problem that has been created by our education system, right? Where they try to bottle you into lines. तुम अगर maths, physics, chemistry लोगे तो तुम engineer बनोगे, biology लोगे तुम doctor बनोगे. Yeah, sure. In some professions you need specialized.
This or that हो जाता है.
In things that I personally don't think that there is a thing. It's an understanding of a space and it's an understanding of saying how to.
Yeah.
Can you give if you can add a valuable suggestion to it, then you can do anything you want. Like for example, right now what I'm doing is investment banking. I have not studied finance my life.
True.
If you ask me to run an Excel sheet, I don't know if I'm capable of doing it. Great thing is I have a super smart team. I've always had people way smarter than me working with me. So I'm actually the dumbest person in the room today when I say. And so I personally feel that in careers like these, which doesn't need a certain specialization, we're not saving lives. I can understand. I don't
Creative field, yeah.
turn around and say I'll be a surgeon. But when I look at advertising, when I look at filmmaking, you can. Like technically, Varun and I have never worked in advertising in our lives. We ran Glitch. We started Glitch. In my opinion, it really helps to not be from that world. When you try to solve and my answer to that is that when you're not from that, right, you have an outside-in perspective. You are trying to solve for a problem. You don't know the rules, so you end up breaking them without knowing them. The minute you know the rules, right, then you'll be careful about not breaking. Suddenly, I don't know the rules, so I'm breaking So advertising, when we started the agency, I remember that, and for the longest time, agencies were what? There was art and copy, 2 teams, right, and then there was servicing and so on and so on. We said, what do we understand best? Video. Video is at the center of what we do. And then there was strategy. So video and strat was at the center. So we were the first agency at that point in time to have a video production team, which meant that we said, why content cannot be one way, it has to be consumed both ways. It doesn't have to be static, it can be both ways. And that was our differentiator and game changer. We didn't come from advertising. If I had worked in an agency before, if I came out, I would have set up a company which said art team, copy team, strategy team, this thing. So we didn't have that outlook of things.
Hindsight में बोला तो आसान है. आज ऐसी क्या अपॉर्चुनिटी होगी? Like 5 years ago you could like become a creator, right? Like 2015-16 जो अपने first generation creators बन गए, वी वैसे प्राजक्ता and all these people, they're still doing well. 18, 19, 20 में काफी लोग आए. 2021 was a lucky break for a lot of creators. Otherwise, I think that creator wave of the initial first and second generation was gone by 2019. 2020 reels and COVID just came off as a चांस 2 फॉर ऑल द क्रिएटर्स. उसमें एक और वेव आ गई ढेर सारी जो अभी थोड़ी कम होते जा रही है. व्हाट इज द अपॉर्चुनिटी टुडे? व्हाट अकॉर्डिंग टू यू इज अ video opportunity of 2010 or creator opportunity of 2017?
The wave will continue from our point of view. I'll tell you what does a creator bring to the table. For the longest time, it was the content team and the distribution were two separate entities. So you would have a creative team and there will be a media planning team, right? So creator team creative बनाता है, media planning team उसके ऊपर
Distribution लगाता है, correct.
creator ने वो उसको disturb किया. So when the creator came in, he became a distributor and a creator.
वो production भी कर रहा है, वो content भी बना रहा है, वो writing भी खुद कर रहा है, वो distribution भी दे रहा है.
My thing is, what has happened today, and if you start looking at it, you are as relevant as your last piece of content as a creator today.
Very true.
So when I see this, the creator trend will continue, but who is peaking and who is dropping will keep changing, right? So today you're following a certain person on a podcast, fatigue sets in after two. If that person renews or whatever, but then there will be another person who will do it a little better than this, and then there will be a third person. So if it's a community, tomorrow what happens is you are relevant today, so you're part of this community talking about it. Tomorrow somebody else has gotten relevant. Can that person be brought in? Whoever is getting smarter into this, and this community keeps growing. So people will trust a certain community, and that's it. I feel community building is the next big jump. The winning pattern of things, or whatever is going to be trending soon, is that people are going to be looking very actively at saying that, hey, let's invest in a community, let's own a community of people, of tribes, as we call it. And if I had to take a bet again in a creative space, I would not bet on, I wouldn't become a creator, because I think a creator shelf life for me is only this much. I would become a
community.
I would
create a community,
build a community where I can give every creator a space to do what they need to do. Whenever you are relevant, and you bounce out if you're not. But end of the day, the community is what people are trusting, which means I want to own distribution technically. And whoever wins will be the one who owns distribution, and not necessarily, because the creation is, there will always be somebody who can do it. The one who can keep growing the distribution is the.
But so then you touched upon a very good point, but you can't own a community. You can create a community, but let's say in a way I have a community of creators, like a BFSI creators, let's say there are like 50 creators with like 50 million followers. I don't own that community. Like if I put a brand image to that, and I can, tomorrow I can go out and like, I created a community of that. But how do I monetize that beyond brands? So then the community would be, then what you're saying exactly what I'm doing, because I have a community of, let's say, BFSI creators. Creators come, creators go, but my community is there because new creators are coming, which is the creation. But with the creators going, there's distribution also going.
Let me take of an example. Terribly Tiny Tales.
Yeah,
it's a great community of content writers, consumers, etc. Right? They built it. So everybody, and they don't. If you realize it, they would probably have influencer like tie-ups, like
100%.
They would have had like 20, 30 great writers on this thing. But that writer can come and go, and that doesn't matter. But TTT as a community will stay for longer. Right? Now, if I look at Finet, and if you were to tell me this, I would have turned around and said, what do I look at it? I have so many BFSI creators. Can I make a BFSI
YouTube channel or
a
Instagram
channel
page,
or a platform or whatever that is there, where I use these people to start having whatever content they're putting in. So end of the day, you're consuming this. It's a portal to consume all of this content. Tomorrow, because you don't own a human being.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can do whatever lock-ins, and we can do all these contracts, but they will eventually go.
Yeah.
Somebody else will come in then. Yeah. This created community of yours, which tomorrow
truly
will
valuable.
be like whatever, 10 million, 20 million people who are subscribing to you for BFSI content. That is going to be the thing. I can see AI-led influencers who are not real. What is it called? The bot-led influencers. Right?
Yeah.
And that will happen in the next 5 years for sure. Like it will be a thing in the next 5 years, because there will be an algorithm, an AI algorithm that can be written, which will be able to scrape, follow, understand, reply, this, and you can go from 0 to 1 million in 2 months.
Is this a bias that like today I feel कि यार वीडियो के आगे तो कुछ नहीं हो सकता, like from essentially AR VR, like if I think about AR VR in a very good scenario, Netflix, if you must have seen Bear Grylls Netflix had an interactive session. You want this to happen and this to happen, that was, I'm not sure if that experiment failed or not, but that in an AR VR version would be, I would be sitting in my home wearing that Apple or Meta, Oculus, and then watching that. That I can still see happening. I can, you can visualize that. But I don't know if at the 2009 were you thinking कि यार पता नहीं वीडियो चलेगा या नहीं चलेगा? Did you have that bias कि ये चलेगा नहीं? क्योंकि a lot of people had the bias कि वीडियो नहीं चलेगा. That's why they're not doing video, right?
As formats changed, people video content evolved over time. So when you're saying interactive, right? TV में interactivity नहीं कर पाते थे एक time पे because it was a one-way street. Then digital happened where, and when you say interactivity, we did the first interactive video on YouTube in 2010 for a brand, and that was the first one. So it was about somebody who gets kidnapped, and then you have to choose this thing, and so we've done all of this at that point. So the formats will keep changing. It was, and I remember there was a whole series where phone पे दिखा रहे हैं. So how do you shoot for the phone? We'd actually done some research on it. Saying the lesser wide angle shots, the better, because itna hi hai canvas, na? So make it more close up. That's where it's. I'll give you an example of the Netflix thing. Great that they added this interactive. But at some point, I just want to sit there and watch a show.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to sit there and put the whole point. And
decision making.
Yeah, nahi karna hai mere ko. Like on weekends, I don't make decisions. I just want to sit there, which is why like cinema also works from a point of view where I can leave my brains behind. Yeah. So all these are gimmicks. Great, it can happen. But from a long-term perspective, I don't think video is dying. If content is going to stay for.
It has stayed forever. Just has changed the way of. Oh, got it. But another question that I've had with community and I've struggled personally with that is that there's no engagement in community-driven stuff. Like, there are a lot of startups which came and already have gone. In the creator economy, last year or this year, there's a report came from Kalari Capital that creator economy startups are the worst startups to invest in terms of ROI and all that. If you know Nas Daily, Nas, he's pivoted his business so many times. It's such an interesting way. He first started his own community कि मेरे पास आओ, मेरे ऐप में आओ. ठीक है, वहाँ कुछ engagement नहीं आ रही थी. At his numbers, 60 million numbers, he was not impressed with them. Then he went to WhatsApp groups बनाएगा. Now his product is a API linked thing with WhatsApp itself, where his community is in WhatsApp. Yeah. Because लोग WhatsApp में ही हैं, तब वो अपनी community वहाँ बना रहा है. So my question, community बनाना बहुत मुश्किल हो गया. Like that attention thing and that value adding thing, it's so difficult to create.
So building a community has to be within the ecosystem where people are. So for me, a community is a shop inside a mall. The mall could be Facebook. The mall could be... So people are going to come to Facebook. People are going to be on WhatsApp, whatever. I have seen very strong communities being built on WhatsApp today. Now, the thing about it is, you are now reliant on a platform. Kal platform badal gaya to kya hoga? You can say all of this, but then we've seen that people who had religious followers on a certain platform and the platform decided to shut down, they moved to this new platform which was there. The followers followed. That is the strength of a community is that if you built strong enough relationships, they will migrate with you wherever you go. So you can make a community of 1 million people, then launch your own app. But the chances of me opening that app is going to be, like the example is Threads. I don't know, when did you last open Threads?
That's a very good point. Yeah.
So you got people to migrate it. But
you have a community of about 2 billion people.
Yeah.
In
and
Instagram.
You're used to a certain this thing. Habits are very hard to change that way. So stay where the audience is. It's fine. I would have used Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, etc. as kind of like a portal to lead into other things that I do.
Got it. Okay. Coming back to the agency discussion. Just wanted to talk about the journey of TV media content. Like 2009 is when you mentioned, you started Glitch, and you started for video, digital video is what you want to do. Before that, like I'm a 1999 born kid, and I remember as far as I can remember, I started watching TV and all those Cartoon Network shows, and sometimes I would watch Tarak Mehta as well and all that stuff. वो चलता था, right? उसके बाद मैं धीरे धीरे किधर migrate हुआ. I started migrating into these Friends and How I Met Your Mother and all that, which then I moved to my laptop. Then 5 years ago I moved on. 5-6 years ago I think I moved on to like a mobile में TVF के shows देख रहा हूँ and all that. Now it's Netflix plus YouTube TVF type shows plus now creator generated shows. Creators are now coming with their own shows and all that, right? So fundamentally, if I see shows, to chal rahe hain. Like shows is what have been working. Abhi, if you see Amazon Prime, so many shows have been coming. Made in Heaven, this, that, season 1, 2, 3. वो same चीज बन रही है. Probably the content quality is increasing. High, like story writing probably is increasing. That's why Made in Heaven is working and The Heart is working, or all these new age shows are working. It's always video. But what is changing? Like I'm not able to figure out change क्या हो रहा है. बस ये तो change हो रहा है. मतलब मैं टीवी में देखता था, फिर मैं डिजिटल में देखने लग गया. अब फोन में देख रहा हूँ. उसके अलावा क्या चेंज हो रहा है?
But not necessarily in that order. That's the only thing, right? And
Christopher Nolan comes into the
yeah,
picture.
so and what could be the window? The canvas was a 3 hour window in TV for a movie, which then became unlimited window when it became TV shows.
Yeah.
Like the K series, which would go on till dinosaur years, right? It just went on and on till they came up with limited series where there is a finite exit to this. So
Correct.
this is a show, it will end in this thing, but I will take my time to tell the story because some stories need to be told at peace. So we
Yeah.
will take that time to say that. But other than so storytelling's going to stay constant. It will be
Correct.
different. There will be different storytellers and they'll tell you. But the format of watching is the only thing that has technically changed, if you ask me. So many, I mean, there is so much content today, yet there is not enough content. Like imagine there is
I agree.
every evening 9 o'clock there is a question, what do you want to watch? And there is a half an hour debate on this side because now it's a problem of plenty also. So and we have to now decide saying what is my show and what is your show and what is our show. So that's the bracket.
Got it. This we discuss the consumer part of thing. Now going back on the agency side of thing, agencies will serve people who create this kind of stuff, right? Like back in the day, you'll be serving a channel B or let's say Sony, पुराना वाला Sony. अब वो Sony Live बन गया है. अब नए they are also evolving as avatars. So how is an agency involved? From 2009, how is Glitch involved? आप पहले क्या कर रहे थे? फिर आपने क्या चेंज देखा? फिर क्या किया?
So I think end of the day, what is the marketer after? The marketer is after your eyeballs, right? Wherever you're spending time, I want to go there. Correct. So if it was reading newspapers and magazines at one point in time where they came after, then it was television now. And I've seen that. 2009, the time spent on digital was so little. Hence, the marketing was also so little. It was still a very evolving medium, right?
How much is that, like percentage wise?
I remember being 7% of the market. So there was, you know how advertising was broken? It was an ATL and BTL. Above the line and below the line, right? Above the line was 70% marketing share. Below the line was 30%. Below the line में digital would be the last leg.
Above the line में क्या क्या आता है? Below the line में क्या क्या आता है?
Above the line would be all your TV show, TV advertising, this, that, etc.
Correct.
Below the line would be events, what do you call it? You run those, you take up a stall somewhere and do these activities. All of that would come in the below the line activity. And digital actually sat in that. So we literally got 6 to 7% of the marketing budget. So if somebody was spending 100 rupees, 7 rupees was put on digital. 7 rupees put on digital means they would spend 6 rupees to distribute, 1 rupee to create. Things moved on. I'll tell you why digital took off was it was instant gratification also, right? I could track a lot of data became a big thing.
Very true.
I could understand who is eating what, did they buy it by clicking my ad, which ad worked, which ad didn't, right? Now TVC was that I made one ad, I put it on TV, then I waited for 3 months to see how this thing. In digital, I could have made 4 different versions of that ad. A/B testing वहीं पे होता है.
Correct.
Facebook पे ये चलाया आज.
वहीं से digital marketing का हवा है. Wow, I'm not getting a full picture of how this has evolved. Because आज given when I was in college 2017, 2018, performance marketing was still there. Like everybody was doing it. Like it was the hot thing being a digital marketing, performance marketing agency and all that. Today there's so many. And I think influence marketing is in that journey also. Like 2 years ago, no, like I think it started in 2017, 18, 19, 20, 19 to 21 is when it's picked up a lot. 22 is a little down. 23 is now. It's not BAU for sure. It's again the cool tech companies and newer companies who are doing it. The older folks are still in the celebrity phase and it's slowly going down. It's just like deja vu history देखो तो influencer किस तरह जा रहा है आपके साथ?
I think, see, the thing is, with influencer marketing, what people have got right, and there's some brands who've got it right and some people, just because I get a person who has X number of followers
doesn't mean I'll get results.
Yeah, there's no need for, if that person is not going to relate to this product, getting the
the Pepsi versus Harpic wala problem.
Finding the right creator or right influencer is so crucial, and I think that was the seed for Chatterbox for us. So when we do our Chatterbox, we said influence is a mix of 3 things, right? So it's reach, it's relevance, and it's resonance.
Word of mouth at scale.
So influencer also is evolved in. Over time, people have also learnt it the hard way.
They're
Or whatever,
adapting, yeah.
and that's how it's come to be.
But two creators at 1 million followers, let's say दोनों fashion creators हैं, दोनों के views भी similar हैं, but still their pricing can be different. Like most probably it will be different because maybe the audience this person has is way more valuable, you know. So metric कैसे figure out करेंगे?
Yeah, there are some things which I don't think technology or
Technology can't solve.
right?
Yeah.
And I'm telling you because we failed at this. We tried doing this. We tried to build. Chatterbox did this first experiment where we said we have a pricing mechanism. When you sign in, the same algorithm, right? Reach, relevance, resonance. We would identify a score to you, and depending on the category,
Making a formula out of it.
the formula was very simple. That if say Ayush with fashion has got 80 points, whereas Ayush with food gets only 60 points. So when a food brand comes to you, your pricing is it was dynamic pricing. We built the whole science to it. But what we realized end of the day, pricing sits with saying who is the brand. अगर जब Netflix तुम्हारे पास आएगा तो तुम बोलोगे कि मैं कोई भी price पे करने को तैयार. Like sometimes it's the same scenario I'm facing today, right? So it's how desperate you are to have that brand come work with you, or how desperate the brand is to associate with you. And that's what it is. And people charge. I know one creator who probably charges 3 lakhs for one brand, and the same creator charges 15 lakhs for another brand. I've seen that parody because he's like, I want this brand on my portfolio. Because the minute I get a cool brand on my portfolio, 4 other smaller guys will come in and who will pay. That's the theory of this thing. So we can write algorithms, we can talk about science, we'll
Can't
put in all
control
the
that
data,
person.
but eventually pricing is always EQ and IQ. IQ can only give you a benchmark number, which is what we all sit on, right? So 1 million followers hai to itna net hoga. So brand is also coming prepared saying that acha TK is 1 million followers, I'll pay around 4-5 lakhs for this. And plus minus 20% so he's only put himself. So now if the guy comes into a 7 lakh window, he's like, okay, that's...
And if I have a good enough reason to explain my logic of higher pricing, let's say 8 lakhs. If he believes it, he believes it.
Yeah, that's it. That's literally what it is. I mean, I don't think... And the problem is, then either we tomorrow move to a model where it's you're paid as per the engagement you generate for that particular post, which we thought about at that time, but we said
Creators will never do that.
Because your engagement today, like this is a podcast people want to watch, right? When you do a podcast, people want to watch. Nobody wakes up in the morning and say कि आज मैं आयुष का branded content देखूंगा. Nobody wakes up to say this. So it's your views on that are going to be low anyway.
Yeah.
So you'll never make the kind of money you would. If you ask me from a pricing point of view, is there a math to it? I don't know if there is a math to it. End of the day, it's something that we could have thought of algorithms and this and that, but I think it will always stay dynamic. It is like how it's as simple as you can provide a benchmark, right? And it's like hiring a human being.
Yeah.
Like when you're building a team, tomorrow I want to hire VP engineering. Benchmark है कि VP engineering Bangalore में होगा तो ये price पे आएगा, Delhi में होगा ये price में आएगा.
Correct.
Now, how desperate am I, or how much funding have I raised, or how much is my wallet size? All of that will define what I can pay for this, right? Which call
Parallel.
The parallel is this only then for me, because it's a people business.
Yeah.
With a community on the other side, you can probably have a rate.
The power is on the leverage and supply side with the community people. But when it's come to the job market you mentioned, the leverage is on the demand creation side, right? Like companies can set that benchmark.
Yeah, I mean,
unless and until the supply comes together and the price increase, which happened in the tech bubble.
Exactly. But then the thing is very simple, right? So when you're going to hire, I know that everybody is going to hire from, this is the window that they'll hire in, right? Now, when you come, you may fit in that bracket, so we come there. Your last drawn may have fit in that bracket. Now you say, I want a plus 30%. Now when I sit with you and I'm talking to you, you're the smartest guy in the room. I need you. Plus 30%, understood, given. That's how your pricing goes up on that front.
So do you think that brands can at some point control that pricing also? Creators like हम 3 लाख ही लेंगे, नहीं हम तो इतना ही देंगे, हम 1 लाख देंगे, आपके टाइप के creators 1 लाख ही लेते हैं. It happens थोड़ा.
It's already happened, right?
Yeah.
What are brands doing with agencies today? Now, suddenly everybody is एक तो first of all every brand marketing guy thinks he's creative. ये तो मैं भी कर सकता हूँ type situation है. So the value of this thing has gone down. The commissions that an agency make has come down so drastically. Today the fear, I mean, if you have to predict the future of agencies, for example, I would say
Let's go there, yeah.
the days of retainers are dead.
For sure.
Right? No, more and more brands that are coming out, because nobody is drawing out a earlier retainer. I would put an agency on retainer because you're drawing out a 2-year vision, 3-year vision for the brand and so on. Now the vision is also changing. Brands are evolving by
And they are doing it in-house.
they're not. Yeah, they probably are doing
The branding and the vision part of it, तो खुद
One
करते
part
हैं.
is happening
They just
in-house.
outsource the execution of it.
And for that, their point is very simple. That why should I pay a retainer to one single brain when I can take 10 brains to pitch for every campaign? I'll pay a premium for the campaign, right? Now, if I can get Tanmay and Devaya to come and write a campaign for me, and at the same time I can get somebody else also to pitch, yeah, I'll pick the best of the lot. So maybe I pay 20% premium or 30% premium on what I would have paid a regular agency for these ad hoc plugins. But I'll go with it. And for them, they don't have to worry about saying that, okay, we don't, I mean, it's not like a retainer account and so on. What is the worry is the agencies who exist today, they've hired employees, right? Now to keep an employee on a payroll, I need to have constant, which means I'm literally pitching what used to be there used to be back in the day, there was a pitch season, which was basically, I think, December to Feb would be a pitch season. So सबका ऐसा FY budgets release होते हैं March में, so people will call for a pitch. If you won the pitch in March, then till next March तो you're chilling.
आप कुछ नहीं होता
The
ऐसा.
campaign is there, you're paid that.
No, you're on
your
your feet.
annual revenue is fixed, right? So I can employ people accordingly. Today I don't have that. Now I have to pitch every month. Every month is a pitch. Every this thing. That is going to be it's worrisome. It's getting there, is what I feel.
I agree.
The market's disrupted there. The minute the brand has the power of this thing, they can squeeze, right? And
What power do they have?
so today the brand has the power.
What has changed from a brand's perspective that they're doing it now? You one thing you mentioned that they've
Supply, higher supply.
हाँ तो अब सब
So
कर रहे हैं.
now everybody is there. Like पहले 4 लोग थे, ठीक है, एक ओगिलवी था, एक JWT था, एक Publicis था. अभी हर गली में, and it's not like, and the thing is, at some point I keep saying the world needs a restart because there are only so many ideas in the world that I think we're done. Like people are revamping a lot of things, right? Older ones are coming back and so on and so forth.
Yeah, remix ही चल रहा है Bollywood में.
Yeah, and the margins that people make. So 10%. पहले, if you go back in the history of advertising, the creative agency would also get a pie of a percentage commission of the money they spent on distributing it. So if I made the ad if my marketing budget is $100, and if we made the ad for 20 rupees, 80 rupees is spent on distributing.
You'll get a cut out
I
of
would
that
take a 10% cut on the distribution. Over time, they killed that piece. They said that distribution cut is only with the distribution agency. So media agency, creative agency became two. Then over time, that distribution, that cut, that is a 10% margin, kept dropping, and technology has played a big role in this, right? Like the minute like earlier, the commission was paid because I as the media house would go and crack a deal with Hotstar, would go and crack a deal with whatever, Doordarshan, Star, Z.
वो खुद करते हैं.
Bring you. Today, Facebook, I can only go and check how much the rate of a Facebook cost per click kitna aata hai. So they're saying, okay, 2% commission. So now that commission is dropped to 2 or even lower, if I'm not wrong. So you can see that.
What does a brand want or a brand value? Creative is one thing for sure that they value, because creative is like literally the roots of their content piece, right? Like product बना लिया, product के बाद TG, VG, etc. उसी के basis पे communication हो रहा है, which is the creative. अब इस creative को use करके performance marketing के वो हो रहे हैं, creative को
brand does not want a creative brand. Brand wants to sell. Whatever will help them sell is what they will go after. Right? If it's a great creative that will help you build a brand which other people will come and buy.
Yeah.
End of the day, it is about, I mean, what is the whole point of marketing, right? It's about ROI. If I'm spending 100 rupees, can you sell 1000 rupees worth products with that 100 rupees? Then great. Then I'm with you. And there are times I can show you some of the greatest ads, which are the most creative ads. but did nothing with the brand eventually. Like it didn't convert. So the thing is, if I take a brand, there are two pieces to it. One is how good the brand in itself is in terms of how good the product in itself is, and two is how have you positioned it to the world, so for people to be convinced to buy it. So it's either through FOMO or whatever you want to do, right? That I need to have this in my house. And so it's, if you ask me, is it the role of a creative guy is to make the most creative ad? No, the idea is to make the most effective ad. Effective advertising greater than any other form of advertising. That's what it is.
And where can a agency come in? Any type of agency come in and create value that a brand wants.
See, the thing is, it depends on the kind of agency you've built in. Like at Glitch, it took us time, but we built enough trust for us to be in the room pre-product or pre-idea, right? So where we would be like, hey, we are planning to enter this market. This is the kind of show we are going to do, or this is what. And then how do we position it? So we would start, and like my favorite example there is Netflix. When Netflix was, we got hired to be Netflix agency before Netflix came to India, right? So position.
Oh, yeah, the first biggest, I think.
Yeah, and they turned to us at that point and said that, and this was an operation sitting out of Singapore, and they've never been in India yet. They had one employee in India. So I remember we sat together to crack saying what should be the tone of a you're a known brand, but you're coming to a country for the first time. What is the tone to be? Multiple brains, and a good brand is a person who hires this thing and trusts them on their word. No, it's not like they didn't give us they said that, hey, globally हमने ऐसा किया है, तुम बताओ इंडिया में क्या करना चाहिए, we will trust you because we've given you the mandate. We are okay if that doesn't work also. And that's how it was. So depending on what kind of an agency you are, you will come into play. So by then Glitch had become an established name. We were doing full 360. So if you are only doing digital, which is what we were called in once the larger strat was done by, say, an Ogilvy, and we would add into that. Over time, we ate into that piece and we said that, hey, we can now do the full strat. Let's identify your TG. Talk about your, like, this whole tribe that we spoke about, right? So TG hai, ye hai, what do they watch? What is this thing? What kind of communication works with them? And draw that out in a parallel. So right from there to then crafting the language, crafting the tone, to then crafting the campaign line. Every agency comes into play literally at every step on those fronts. So if I take an agency's job, there are two. We keep saying agency, but agencies are two kinds, right? Left brain, right brain again. Creative agency, media agency. So in the WPP ecosystem, a Glitch would be a creative agency. Ogilvy is a creative agency. Group M is a media agency. Group M is the media planner in the media agency, is the guy who works closely with the think team to decide where your media budgets are going. Which means इतना पैसा billboard पे डालेंगे, इतना TV पे डालेंगे, इतना print newspapers.
Yeah, media planning
is something that media planning will come. They will crack the kind of rates, etc. The creator will say, now that you have these canvases, which is these billboards, this, what
I will tell you what communication needs to be done.
Influencer is the new in this Venn diagram
media
of this
planning.
thing. Is a new thing which comes under media planning, but is also coming under creative because of it's a Venn diagram that one's upset.
Yeah. So now as a brand, let's say DoneDeal, wherein you are a B2B platform helping startups to sell, right? If you were to do influencer marketing, performances पे भी आते हैं, पहले influencer start करते हैं. Influencer marketing, you would ideally find creators who have high credibility, have a say in M&A, have a say in startup, are fundraisers, or talk about startup a lot. VC creators, जो creators VC में कुछ कर रहे हैं. These type of creators, correct?
I would break that down. If I was to do with DoneDeal, for example, right? If you have to break it down, I would have to use different creators for different kinds of things. So, for example, to spread awareness about M&A and how M&A legacy was happening, and hey, here is a new way to do it, I would use creators who are who talk about the startup ecosystem actively, etc. on that. But to build trust around it, I would talk to...
Build trust around DoneDeal or
around DoneDeal. I would talk to founders who have gotten acquired in the past about what they've gone through, how this would have been a game changer if it was there in their time, and so on and so forth. Or people who
Oh,
have done this through us. Whether
yeah,
whatever happens is founders have a certain influence in
consumer, yeah,
so if I look at the startup ecosystem, founders are all technically rock stars, right? So in the fact that you have started something, you are a rock star. Whether that kicked off or not, you are still smarter than uh, anybody else that I know, or I would take your word for it from that. So I would break the thing down from DoneDeal point of view. It would be if I did use influencers as influencers, it would be only to create awareness around. So M&A as an activity today is not on a founder's agenda straight up, right? First thing, nobody wakes up in the morning saying कि like आज मैं company बेच दूंगा.
correct.
But people are waking up saying that fundraise करना है 3 महीने बाद 6 महीने बाद runway इतना है. But how M&A is such an important part of having an exit plan is very, very important, is something that is education. And that education needs to happen, and that can happen through these people who will bring in the awareness around, hey, keep an eye out for because you should always exit at your peak, technically, what they say, right? So don't come to exit when you are at the fag end of your runway. We keep saying this. Don't come to exit when there's fatigue set in. Exit when, so Glitch was a great example for us. We were at our peak. We were the largest independent agency at that point in time. The market was at its peak. So the marriage happened at a great time. That, how do you identify when demand is high, when is your this thing, is what we will help you with. So that's what I would like to get influencers to talk about. Whereas the trust building would be people who have gone through the experience themselves. So that's like testimonial driven.
Yeah, makes sense. But how do you scale this? Like performance wise, तो आप उसको scale कर सकते हो ना. You can put in, let's say you figure out the TG in the performance dashboard and you just put that and just run on it. That's what people do.
Yeah.
Correct. Now for influencers, how do you do that? Because there are limited number of creators that you could find in all the 2 or 3 segments.
So the thing is, see, what is the point of scale, right? And that's what I think. There is no point in having 1 million people skip an ad. I would rather get whatever 1,000 people watch the whole thing and take something away from it. So that which is why I come back to effectiveness, right? I don't need, so technically we don't need I wouldn't look at influencer marketing as something at scale on that front. I would look at it more as effective, saying that, hey, this person said this, I trust this person, it'll convert to a consumer. So when we used to have that pyramid that I was talking about, right? Pyramid of influence. Shah Rukh Khan, if he talks about something, there are probably 1 billion people who would have seen the ad. Would they buy that Hyundai car because Shah Rukh Khan talked about it? Very unlikely, right? Because I don't believe Shah Rukh is going to drive a Santro. But it's a brand, it's recall that happens.
Yeah.
Down the pyramid lies this one guy who's probably got whatever 5,000 followers, right? But he is a car fanatic. All those 5,000 people are hardcore. When he talks about this car which is fab, there is a chance that 20% of that converts, right? And now I can get more of these guys at the same fee that I've paid Shah Rukh. At 1/10 the fee I've paid Shah Rukh, right? That's the thing. Influencer will create a persona or a need for a brand. Performance will keep knocking on your door saying that, hey, remember what he told you? खरीद लो वो है. So this guy can't reach that kind of
completely different
I don't
way of
think
marketing.
influencer marketing see, in the advertising spy of things, influencer is always going to be a subset of a subset, right?
Yeah.
So that there is a time to that, and that's the highest you will reach. I, like you rightly said, I don't see it crossing.
In overall marketing, where is a brand today spending? Let's say a brand with 100 crore budget, where is spending money? Spending money on performance marketing,
Performance
little bit
is
on
still,
influencer marketing. Still is
see, the thing is that performance has been a very effective module of marketing.
Then where is it moving towards? Can you predict that? Where is marketing spends going towards? Like one thing I can say is that it's going to shows like a Sony Live ne banaya Shark Tank. So Shark Tank is now, but it was also always there. But it's like TV shows are now going into OTT shows, which are now getting sponsored by brands for eyeballs. एक हल्का छोटा सा अगर मैं आपको from my perspective, that's where it's going. Your influencer is there, performance is there, but इसके अलावा what else is there?
See, that's what I think it's very difficult for me to pinpoint as to where this thing. For me, the line I keep driving is effectiveness. Right? So wherever there is audience, money will go there. That's what is the audience. So when you say Shark Tank, pe gaya, so they have so many sponsors this season.
Yeah.
First season they didn't. Nobody expected Shark Tank to do what it did, and then now they're like, okay, this is the new KBC. So they didn't come there. For all you know, third season there's nobody there, right? Because of whatever controversy, not to. So brands have all come there. No, not enough eyeballs. Fourth season, no brand will also. So that will keep changing. So it's where is a human being spending their time tomorrow? If everybody has decided to start reading, you will see ads in Audible. You will see ads in your Kindle. Right? It's where is the audience at? That's where this thing will be, and that's where the focus will go to.
Got it. Second last question is one linked to the talent of a agency, right? Like gig economy is increasing. We just touched upon it in the beginning that you were a 360-degree agency. Today, if somebody wants to build a 360, it's very difficult because अब niche हो गई है, expertise driven होगी कि ये influencer करते हैं, ये performance करते हैं, ये media करते हैं, ये ad बनाते हैं, सब ऐसे से हो गया है. To get that all together and control them and to put that under an umbrella and do it is very, very difficult. I think today there are not a lot of people who are doing it or are being able to do it. That is the reason, because from what I have seen is that because जिसको वो skill आ रही होती है वो खुद का करने लग जाता है. Which is, of course, it's a great way to do it. We want more entrepreneurs, etc., etc. But that's the truth then. Like, is that the space where we're going, that niches, riches are in the niches and it's a natural path of variation? ये parallel if you see in other industries also ऐसे ही होता है.
Yeah, I mean, see, in the market that we're going in, specialization is slowly becoming the way to be, because what I am good at, you may not be good at, and what you are good at, I may not be good. Unless you and I combine forces, right? Now we are one. Now that just trying to control, and I learned it the hard way as well. Trying to control everything within you, you will start spilling more. And the idea is, I think the future of everything is going to be partnerships, where people say that, hey, this is my strength, I will play to my strength. You are hiring me for my strength, so you pay a premium for my strength, right? And if you want somebody else to do this, either you partner with them or the brand itself partners with somebody else for. And today, I think with the democratized reach that is there, the difference between 2009, 2019 and 2029 is the fact that in 2009, people didn't know who. If you ask me who are the agencies, podcast nahi tha, ye nahi tha, so people don't know who are doing the work, right? So it was always word of mouth.
Nice. Final question is nothing related to this, but you mentioned you like books, and I also saw a bunch of books at your house, I think. 2 books each in the category of advertising, marketing, whatever you'd want to say, and in general.
Advertising, marketing, and my favorite book of all time, which I read once a year, is Shoe Dog.
Phil Knight.
I mean,
Bro.
it's a very cliched answer, but it's my favorite book of all.
No, you'll be surprised how many people don't know about that book.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And the other book I strongly recommend people to read is Hard Thing About Hard Things. It's it's a Bible. It should be in school.
Tim Ferriss.
And it should just teach people this. And these are 2 books that are like in the thing. Otherwise, my reading is mostly, I love reading about food. I'm a hardcore food driven.
Fiction?
Not as much fiction. I actually very rarely read fiction.
Same.
The last fiction book I would have read is Ravan and Eddie. If you have read that,
I don't read
fiction. Fantastic. It's a Marathi novel translated into Hindi, but it's called Ravan and Eddie. It's a fantastic book.
Yeah.
But other than that, I stopped. Fiction just doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't cut it for me. I'd rather watch a TV show than I'll wait for it to be a movie. Yes.
Thank you so much, Rohit, for doing this.
Thank you. This was a pleasure.
I'm not lying when I say this. I think this 2 hours or how many hours I spent has given the most clarity and understanding advertising media from a macro perspective. It's a very macro conversation. It's not a micro conversation or all that. Macro wise, I think this is
I'm probably very cut off from this advertising world now for the last 2 odd years.
Yeah.
It's a great rethink of.
Yeah.
Again, I have never worked in advertising outside of this, so take everything that I've said with a pinch of salt. I may be completely outsider in perspective.
Maybe it makes sense. The fundamentals always remain the same, which I realized during that. That's why I'm trying to pattern क्या है वो क्या है so that I can predict the future. But thank you so much.
Great, man. This is such a fun conversation.